Today we've got some wonderful speakers who are going to talk about the process of engaging bystanders in masculine work environments.
I thought Michael's speech was great.
I'm going to talk about bystanders, not exclusively about men as bystanders, also about the role that women can play. And in fact, you had Chief of Army Lieutenant General Morrison in 2013 giving a very powerful and passionate speech. And one of the things he says there is the standard you walk past is the standard you accept.
And Dan's talk about his personal journey at DCA, what he's learned and how he's realised that sexism does exist.
There seems to be a certain degree of apathy, or at least avoidance, with the broader range of issues that women face. This is curious because most of us have women and girls in our lives that we care very much for.
I enjoyed the most being in a panel that made themselves open to the discussion.
Often we see sexism that's what I put in the category of benevolence or paternalism in a way, kind of protective sexism.
He had said we were in a senior leadership team meeting and the CFO said, it was a round table, there was one woman in there and said, okay, Lisa, you're going to take notes. And he sort of, nobody did anything. He said, excuse me, I don't believe it's Lisa's, it's not in her job description to take notes.
I guess I learned about terms like microaggression and which is just a descriptor of those little things that people say.
So when, for example, a man in your workplace sexually harasses a woman in your workplace, that doesn't come out of the blue, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes out of a whole series of ways in which he's been given permission to do that, in which he feels entitled or that it's appropriate to do that. A whole series, hundreds of comments, behaviours, interactions and so on that lead up to that.
And we see it happen every day in small acts across workplaces throughout the Australian labour market.
And each of those behaviours is an opportunity to intervene, an opportunity to speak up, to say something, to take action.
So if we stop it, we call it, we say it's unacceptable, then we start to change and say that's not going to be the norm that we're going to accept.
Active bystanders are instrumental in challenging sexism and gender inequality.
Sometimes the behaviour that they think is a joke or it's funny or it's okay, it's actually not.
But you engage people in an active way of trying to understand what the behaviour is about, where it comes from, what impact it has, and what you can do with it.
It's a tough cookie to crack because it's difficult for a lot of people to stand up against these behaviours, lest they become the subject of that behaviour. I really do think it's one of those things that it's a conversation I wasn't really comfortable in having. And it's easy to avoid from that. It really is an easy conversation to avoid.
To educate your middle management is really your start point. The strategy is great for your CEOs and the likes, but you need to have a really strong policy at middle management to be able to give back to the guys on the ground. Guys and gals on the ground.
Since it is such a big issue, a lot of people don't want to tackle it. So to be able to start to address it and address it together in a non-threatening way was a great start, and it was an important discussion today.
And so we have a choice. Are we active bystanders who say something, who do something, or do we passively let that behaviour continue?